Welcome everyone to the Retirement Communities for Energy Efficiency and Solar webinar. My name is Abigail Jager. I'm a program manager with Solar Oregon. I'm really excited for the event today and to learn more about how retirement communities in Oregon are being a part of the renewable energy solutions across our state. Before we get started, I'm going to go through some housekeeping things and then I will pass it over to our presenters. So first up, this presentation is put on by Solar Oregon. Solar Oregon is a 501c3 nonprofit that provides free and impartial solar education across the great state of Oregon. We do this through educational webinars such as this one and our regular How to Go Solar and Storage and Comparing Solar Quotes webinars, as well as community-minded events that allow people to connect with other solar enthusiasts and through some amount of policy advocacy. If you're interested in learning more about our events, you can subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on social media at Solar Oregon. This workshop is also made possible by support by Energy Trust of Oregon. Energy Trust of Oregon is an independent nonprofit funded by the investor-owned utilities of our state in order to promote renewable energy. They serve over 2 million people in the Pacific Northwest and support a variety of community-based initiatives such as Solar Oregon. Thank you so much, Energy Trust of Oregon, for your support. If you want to find out more, you can scan the QR code currently on the screen. We have some great panelists for you today. I'm gonna introduce them to you now. First up, we have Jim Williford. Jim is the Vice President of Development at Rose Villa Senior Living. With more than 30 years of experience in project and program management, Jim Williford has led complex infrastructure and development projects across the public and private sectors, including directing, design, and construction programs for the Oregon Military Department. As Vice President of Development at Rose Villa Senior Living. He oversees campus planning, design, and strategic development initiatives, ensuring projects align with long-term goals and enhance the community's living environment. He collaborates closely with staff and residents, including resident-led sustainability and resilience groups, to advance environmental stewardship and preparedness, and is committed to guiding Rose Villa's continued evolution as a forward-thinking, sustainable, and resilient community. Additionally, we have Lorraine Kolkashai, who is the Philanthropy Director at the Blue Heron Foundation at Willamette View. Lorraine partners with donors to advance mission-driven philanthropy and long-term sustainability at Willamette View, supporting dementia services, memory care, and staff education, community initiatives, and environmental stewardship through the resident-led Green Team. She also successfully led a capital campaign for a solar energy project, strengthening the organization's commitment to responsible stewardship and sustainable operations. And last but certainly not least, we have Mitch Arjavec. Mitch has strong project management skills and successfully managed 2 hotel openings and several major remodels, including an entire recladding of the exterior, where he was able to save the owners 6 figures off the initial project. This has been a trend with every position he's held as he continues to build trust with ownership by lowering departmental capex and vendor contract costs while maintaining high standards for buildings and his team. He has certification in HVAC, advanced water restoration, and pool spa, and is experienced in building strong teams, painting, sustainability, plumbing, and electrical. Thank you so much to all our presenters for being here with us today. If throughout the presentation, while they're presenting, you have any questions, please put them into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. It might also be atop my head, but you should see this little Q&A box that's currently highlighted. At the end of the presentations, we'll be having a extended Q&A session where we'll be sure to get your questions answered. There's no need to wait until the end of the presentation to put any questions into that box. Feel free to put them in at any time. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it over to Jim. Jim, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Abigail. Just a moment. There we go. It should be coming up here. Here we go. Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, Abigail. As Abigail mentioned, I'm a retired engineer officer from the U.S. Army, and I came to know Rose Villa as a consultant, and I was a consultant for them in their latest development, phase 3 development. So I worked for them as a consultant from 2020 to 2022, and then came to work full time here at Rosevilla. Um, Rosevilla is a 25-acre nonprofit life plan community, also known as a CCRC. Rosevilla really core values of resiliency and sustainability, and we've developed a 25-year resiliency and are working on a 25-year sustainability action plan, and we're nationally recognized as a leader in sustainability. Roseville really had two initial forays into sustainable construction, two net zero neighborhoods. The first was the Oaks Zero Energy Neighborhood, 12 homes built to passive house standards. They're Earth Advantage Platinum certified. The Oaks has 74 kilowatts of solar uh, production on their roofs, photovoltaic panels. We do not yet have a battery system that goes along with this, so this solar just runs our meter backwards. But these are fantastic homes, MERV 16 air filtration, very high quality, passive house standard, um, and very energy efficient, well beyond the performance of any of our normal homes. And we built the Oaks in 2018. Trillium Townhomes was part of phase three. So this was constructed 2020 to 2022. These are six independent living homes, also built to Earth Advantage Platinum certification, passive house standards. This neighborhood has a 17 kilowatt, I'm sorry, 38 kilowatt of solar on the roof. Also does not have a battery system. Both the Oaks and Trillium, we did not fully build out the solar capacity. We built them so that they produce more energy than we use annually, but we have plans to expand the solar production on both neighborhoods and to add battery systems to them. Last year, Roseville had a garage that burned down. It was a 4-stall garage. In replacing that, we built the first of our resiliency action plan buildings we call a Rose Port. This is a carport that's built with resiliency and sustainability in mind. So it's a mass timber. The roof is a mass timber. We did it with glulam. It's constructed to seismic category 4 standards. We have a large photovoltaic array on the roof, 17 kilowatt photovoltaic array on the roof, and we did tie that to a 27 kilowatt hour battery system. Additionally, we have rainwater collection on the roof, and it goes to the tank that you see in the picture lower right. That's a 3,100 gallon tank, and we have potable water filtration mounted in the garage. So this will provide drinking water for all the residents in the on campus for 1 week, emergency drinking water. This is the first of the Rose Ports. We have 13 garages and carports on campus. We have active programs to try to reduce the number of internal combustion engine vehicles on campus, but it is our intention to replace our garages and carports with Rose Ports. And these will be beacons for sustainable and resilient activities in the case of a power loss or water loss here at Roseville. Looking ahead, we're already started work on our second Rose building, and this is going to be a new facility operations center. We are currently, our building operations, grounds, and security operates out of a property we purchased that has a home on it. We're building a new purpose-built for them center, and this will involve all the principles that we incorporated in the Rose Port, the first Rose Port. So we'll have a large photovoltaic array on the roof. It'll be a standing seam metal roof, so we'll do water collection. It's our intention to provide for 15,000 gallons of above ground water collection with that project, and approximately a 90 kilowatt photovoltaic array on the roof. And we haven't yet sized the battery system, but we're working on that design now. That's under design, and we anticipate completion by next spring. Additionally, we have 2 large developments planned, both of which are in design. The first is Rosevilla's largest zero energy development, 150,000 square foot multi-story building on the east side of River Road. It's our intention for this to be passive house certified and to be net zero for electrical energy use. That project is just under design now with Hacker Architects, and we anticipate completion in 2028. Additionally, Roseville is beginning the design process for a new development that will seek Living Building Challenge certification. That's on our easternmost piece of property, a beautiful piece of property with views of the Willamette River. We're going to construct independent living homes there and a wellness center. We are in the beginning stages of design, so we're not sure yet what the size of that wellness center will be, but when I say wellness center, I think like a spa, so hot and cold plunges, saunas, etc. This is a very ambitious project for us, as there are only 35 Living Building Challenge fully certified buildings in the world. One of those is right here in Portland, PAE's office buildings, and their electrical engineers are actually working on this project with us. Just a few other sustainability and resiliency initiatives here on campus. Last year, we converted our internal combustion engine fleet to all electric vehicles. Additionally, we were successful in several grant applications and have been able to install a 12 high-speed level 2 chargers along our main street. And that was a $410,000 project for which Roseville only had to pay $2,500 out of pocket because of the grants that we were able to receive. During phase 3, Roseville built Rosie. This is a gray water collection system. So for all the buildings, 42 homes in phase 3, we collect the gray water from those homes, treat it, and it's used to flush the toilets and also all the irrigation in phase 3. And we'll look at similar type systems with our new future developments. And all of this is really driven by our resident groups. And so we have a very engaged and passionate group of residents here. They're very focused on a number of areas, social issues, but they're also very focused on climate issues. And we have a large and engaged and passionate green team, and they focus on all things sustainable. We have a active Ready Force group, and they work on our emergency response. And we have a resiliency and sustainability action work groups, and they work on refining our 25-year resiliency action plan, and they are working with us to develop our 25-year sustainability action plan. And the residents really drive all activities here at Rosevilla, and they're the inspiration for all the work that we do in sustainability and resiliency here on campus. And, stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Jim. If anyone has any questions for Jim, like I said earlier, please put them into that Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And with that, I will pass it over to Mitch. And Jim, I do think you need to stop sharing your screen to
Try
pass
here.
the controls
Okay.
to Mitch. No worries. Take your time.
Uh, I may have to log back in. I'm having a rough time.
There should be a red box that says stop share.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Happy to help. And Mitch, I will pass it to you next. You are still muted.
Uh, okay, are you able to see my screen? No.
Not yet.
That's true. So, just give me a second here. This one. All right, how about that?
Yes, now we can.
All right. Well, thank you, Jim, for that. I want to comment on one of your slides. I noticed On the last slide, it said gray. Well, maybe this first, second to last slide. On the gray water, it said organic stuff is everywhere. I love that. That's hilarious. Anyway, I wanted to share some of the things that we, the reasons why we're motivated, to have solar on our building. And obviously, I love that Jim covered a lot of different areas, not just solar. And the main reason why we're involved with everything is we would get bored if we just had solar, no offense, but every 3 to 5 years you put solar up on a building. And I know Jim's got a lot more buildings over there, so I mean homes. So, but anyway, we're all about sustainability everywhere. We want the air to be good, the water to be good, and we want to save money on energy if we can, right? So this is when you see this photo, this is our uh, uh, Easter egg hunt from Saturday, the day before Easter. And this is Lorraine there. You can see her herding all the cats. She did a fantastic job. But these, our residents and our next generation are really why we're doing what we do, and I think it's important to have, obviously Jim mentioned the green teams that we have on our campuses, and these people push because they're motivated not from a statistic or politically or anything. They're motivated because it's the right thing to do, and that's why we do what we do here at Willamette View. And so this is our motivation, and we want our kids and our kids' kids to have a nice world to leave behind. So I'm going to go into some of the challenges that we had with solar. This is our dashboard that we have from Solar Edge. And I really like this dashboard, although there's some things that you can manipulate here, and I'll get to that later. But you can see how we have 57,000 pounds, 57,000 pounds of CO2 saved thus far. Our initial estimate was 80,000 pounds for the entire year. So we're in the first quarter, we're almost already there. So that's a huge win on our side, and that's a huge win for the sun and our environment. So we're doing a good job. The next slide, this is another kind of shows the rest of the dashboard. This shows all of our panels here, and I can zoom in on these. I can look at different aspects of these to see if all the electrical components are running correctly and what have you. And we use this for our servicing and what have you. But North Point, when we have 3 solar projects, technically at large solar projects at Willamette View. The one is North Point, which is already completed. The neighborhoods, which just got completed about a quarter ago. And then the new building that will be completed in 2028, 2029, which is the Skyline building, which is a 200 unit, 8-story high rise. And these are some of the challenges that we faced. North Point, we didn't receive the Oregon tax credit that we planned for. That's a communication error, right? Forcing the HVAC subcontractor to locate roof-mounted equipment to avoid the best locations for solar panels. Again, another communication error that could have been modified earlier on in the project. Confirm that the roof had been replaced relatively recently, and that was an early concern. This goes with every solar project. If you're looking at putting a solar panel on your garage, when was the last time your roof was replaced? What's the end of life look like on that roof? So those kind of pre-planning things in the early stages before you even think about buying a solar package. One of the biggest challenges that we faced was financial, as this was not included in the health center construction budget. So going forward, of course, making sure that all of these things are considered for the next build and the next one and so on. So of course this was considered for our new buildings and considered for everything that we do going forward. And then the last was, it was difficult to get buy-in from residents. And this is where philanthropy comes into play. And I'd like Lorraine just to maybe mention a few things that she kind of went through with the residents with the challenges here.
Thank you, Mitch. Yeah, so we decided to offer our solar project as a donor opportunity, a way for donors to participate in sustainability projects here at Willamette View. So what we did was we focused on early engagement and transparency and our shared values. And residents, especially through the green team, they were so valuable to us in the beginning to help us shape the conversation and champion the project amongst their peers. So they were the first group that I met with. We talked about the project. I got their input, and they were the first champions of this amazing project. And it was a wonderful experience working with them. Not only were there many donors in the green team, but they were also collecting bottles and cans and donating in a lot of other ways to help bring this project to life. And then the leadership buy-in came from aligning the project with Willamette View's mission and long-term sustainability goals and responsible stewardship of resources. And so for those who were concerned about costs, we emphasized the operational savings, the donor support, and this project really became a demonstration project. So this is not going to be our first philanthropic huge sustainability project. This is really just the beginning. And with this project and the great success of it and the dashboard that Mitch showed earlier, it's a great demonstration to show people why this is a great thing to have on the rooftops that are available for solar. So and not only did we get a lot of resident support, but also there was a lot of employees that also helped support the project. All of our leadership team all participated in the capital campaign. So so through the capital campaign and the credits that we received, we were able to pay for the project and have seed money then for that next project. So that's my goal, is to constantly be refilling these buckets and building on what we've just accomplished to continue the momentum. So, but yeah, we were very proud of this project. It's we have a monitor over in our neighborhood building. I'm putting a monitor on our large interactive donor wall so that it's very obvious the impact of this project. So we're very proud of it. I'm very proud of our green team. So
Absolutely. Thanks, Lorraine. Appreciate that. So this is more of the dashboard and just kind of explaining systems generated as it's intended from the commission date. But in my notes, I have plan early for solar. That's kind of what I was mentioning before. This is why having sustainability teams is important. Leadership and policy in place are important. Collaborate with all teams involved. Operations, constructions, Energy Trust of Oregon, ownership, county, state, federal, incentive for incentives and residents. Just this morning, we realized that we needed to make a deposit on our solar for this coming project by July. We have plenty of time. But if we don't, we're going to lose out on 40% rebates. Well, we don't lose out on them if we complete them by the end of this year or 27, which just isn't feasible to put solar panels on a building that's only half built. So making sure that you have the understanding of where you're going to be in 4 years and 5 years, not just what's coming up this year. Make sure you're building plans for future capital projects and new building involves solar teams input. We're currently surveying solar for our new Skyline building coming in 29, as I mentioned. Provide updates to stakeholders. This provides transparencies and overcomes challenges and builds trust with teams for future projects. So like we've had such a great success with this project and the way Lorraine and the team was able to handle it, going forward, it only makes sense on future projects. And we already have that current buy-in with the residents and the ownership group. More, kind of just showing you the system. This is, and I know there's different platforms, but most of the platforms will have a link like this. And what I love about this link is it really provides a lot of color to your community. And one of the last slides, it showed, it saves driving a car 30,000 miles or 12 cars or whatever. There's a lot of other really good examples where it talks about how many pounds of trash is keeping out of the landfill. How many hundreds of thousands of trees does this mean planting versus, so it's that, what am I doing versus putting the carbon back into the environment. So it's it has a lot of color. I think there's like 20 or 30 examples on that one link. And some of the stuff you want to obviously manipulate. We have, we still have some, I noticed on our dashboard when I was looking this with IT, we still have, a lot of metrics versus standards. So make sure that you have what you want so that your residents can read it easily. Here's another just kind of an example of that. And then Senate Bill 1138 is coming up. It's already, in fact, excuse me, it's already in place. And for tier 2 buildings, which is residential buildings like ours, we must be compliant by 2028. And of course, solar rolls into this using science-based carbon footprint reduction. So solar is just another tool that we can use going forward to reduce our carbon footprint as a community, right? So those are things that we're going to look at as initiatives for the Department of Oregon and Energy Trust going forward to capture those savings and that sustainability. Login. So as far as the dashboard is concerned and just kind of creating a good habits or best practices, we log in once a month just to see the status of the solar panels, making sure that they're all running correctly. And also just for from a maintenance standpoint, you want to make sure you're covering all your preventative maintenance so that all your warranties are covered. Most solar panels have a 25 to 30-year warranty, but that warranty is only in place if the maintenance is done. Some final notes, be a collaborator. We currently have several groups we work with, like Lorraine mentioned, from the Green Team, the SEM group, which is another Energy Trust partner. Attend the Department of Energy webinars, consulting partners for new buildings, whether it be mechanical and energy energy partners, philanthropy, construction teams, and of course, our own Willamette View leadership. So look for other green opportunities. I lost my other slide. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it wasn't that important. But we continue to look for other opportunities. That's what I was mentioning before, because there's so much to do in the ways of sustainability. And again, I'm going to end with this slide here because we just, like I said, this kind of encapsulates why we're doing this, right? It's for our current residents, us, and the future of what we see here at Willamette View. So thank you very much for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Mitch and Lorraine. That was great. We already have some questions in the chat. And so I'm going to ask these to the panel, and if you can come off of mute if they would like to answer them, I think that would probably work best. And if you also have a different opinion or more to add from whoever answers them, feel free to chime in as well. So the first question is asking can both communities describe how they capitalize on these sustainability investments? Lori mentioned donors. What portion of costs is covered by the buy-in fees from new residents versus from philanthropic donations?
You want me to take the easy part? I'll take the easy part. So in our case, that the solar project that we placed on our neighborhood building was 100% supported by donors, and also whatever we were a little short, we used the credits for. So it wasn't part of a monthly fee or a portion of a buy-in.
Could you repeat the first question, Abigail?
Yes. The first question was, can both communities describe how they capitalize on the sustainability investments?
Well, I would say as far as our sustainability investments are concerned, how do we capitalize on them? We looked for, at least from my perspective, and again, we look for the biggest bang for our buck, right? So we're looking for as much that we can get back on those investments. And what I mean by that is that if we can create a lower carbon footprint from doing this versus this, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where our focus is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I look with some jealousy at Willamette View being able to use philanthropy to, or the thought to use philanthropy to advance these kind of initiatives. We have not done that here at Rosevilla. So I think it's important to do your homework first. And so, for us here at Rosevilla, we need to do, it's almost a 70-year campus, 70-year-old campus, especially on the electrical infrastructure side. Our as-builts and knowledge of our infrastructure was not the greatest. And so we need to do some analysis of our existing infrastructure. And um, for us here at Rosevilla, we have last year we developed a 5-year strategic plan, and it's got 5 pillars, and it really facilitates decision making. And basically, we look for opportunities to make decisions that advance our strategic plan. And while we are committed to resiliency and sustainability, it's important to make a business case. And it won't fly if it doesn't make business sense. And so we look for those opportunities. First, we program our projects. We've done the analysis of the campus, so we know what our infrastructure is. We know where we have opportunity. And we program projects to contemplate sustainable features and resilient features. We go after my favorite kind of money, which is other people's money. So we go after grants and um, look for partnerships with our utility or energy trust or other entities. Um, we make decisions about where to make investments for sustainability, where it makes sense, economic sense, where we'll have a payback. And we're now really starting to look through the lens because of the strategic plan, not just for sustainable features, but sustainable and resilient features. So hit both those stones. And and then we've got to communicate. So we've got to communicate to our stakeholders. That's the super passionate residents that are pushing us to do sustainable features, and also those residents that may be not as passionate about that particular aspect of community life, and educate them about what the benefit is to them for us to lean into sustainable features. And it's an ongoing thing. Look, uh, um, our community is a little smaller than Willamette View, but to get nearly 400 residents all on the same sheet of music, it's just not going to happen. And so we try to hit that sweet spot and make prudent investments of the money that Roseville has been entrusted with, and to communicate that message to our residents, and to take lessons learned from our projects and apply them to future projects. We don't always hit it out of the park. Sometimes we make an initiative and an effort, and it doesn't achieve what we wanted it to achieve. And I think it's important to just be honest, to accurately track through KPIs, the performance of your initiatives, report on those, and be honest. Take your mistakes too, and learn from them, and you gain credibility with the community, and they'll support you as you try new things. That's what
I was going to say, on the construction side, you said, we just had a scenario where, we had to cut some from our building automation system on our new build. And that's like, for me, it's like stealing candy from a baby. I like my building automation stuff, right? And again, I understand there's only so much money to go around, right? And to get the bond, we need to get this close, and so on and so forth. So what I understand is some of these projects can be done with capital money in the future. And as long as the drops are there, you build it out correctly, you'll be able to have everything you need going forward. So you have to work. Sometimes you have to take a concession now so you can have a win later, right? And so and again, I see some bigger wins on this project if I'm willing to wait on a couple of them, right? And I'm getting all the big ones, right? Like HVAC and everything else. But I'm just saying, sometimes you just don't have enough money for everything, like you said, Jim. So you look at where you can get those wins now, and then in the future, make those adjustments.
For sure. I totally agree. The same thing for both our net zero neighborhoods, the Oaks and Trillium. I'm not second guessing the fact that at that time in that development they did not maximize out their solar production, and they didn't put in emergency backup battery systems because they used the resource they could. But I'm set up well for success. I now can come in later and
Exactly.
finish out that solar install and add those battery systems. And I'm fortunate that they had the foresight to lay out that roof system and other things, so it's amenable for that future development. I hear you. I've never done a lot of projects. I've never done a project that we were able to do everything we wanted to do. And I think you're right, Mitch. Being wise about how you set yourself up or your successors up for success down the road is super important. Yeah.
It makes a really big difference. We hear that with solar all the time, how important the pre-planning is, because things like where the exhaust lets out, how the HVAC is wired, those things make a difference. And so even if you're not able to put on solar within the current build you're working on, planning for that, if that is a goal you have down the road, can make a really big difference. Related to what you were already saying, but just elaborating on it with one of the new questions we got, Jim, are you able to share any of these specific grants you did receive to help projects move forward? And Mitch and Lorraine, if you received any grants as well, feel free to add on. I just don't believe, as you said, it was more philanthropic donors and credit where you could. So
Great. Hmm.
I don't remember the names of the grants. I got ODOT grants, PGE grants, and Energy Trust incentives, basically paybacks. And
that's
um,
still awesome information to be able to provide anyone who's interested. Have you been able to test your system in a real outage yet? And if so, what did you learn?
I can go first. I'll do real quick. So our the only system that we have installed right now that would perform during an outage, or in other words, that has the backup batteries, is the Rose port. And we've been fortunate. I wish I had some wood to knock on that we have not had a significant outage since we did that installation. We do practice with it. We do, conduct training with ourselves. I know our building operations staff is planning on doing a training exercise with our Ready Force. So we'll simulate its use through an exercise. But we have not really had a system. Like I said, our other than the Rose port, our other solar installs just basically run the meter backwards, and they work great as long as the grid is up. Yeah.
And we're the same. We don't have any backup batteries here on property. We have several generators that keep our facility running when the power's off. So we have,
Equally as important, we talk to lots of households that only have solar, and some people are usually surprised to learn that you cannot use power when the grid is down if you don't have that backup system, battery system, in order to be able to island your building. So it's great context, and definitely having backup generators, especially when I'm sure you have some people on medical devices or just losing refrigeration for medicine, could become a major issue. Um, Going back to the questions that we've been asked, I know both of you already talked about some of the things coming down the road, but if you could expand on how you're planning to expand your systems or integrate additional technologies in the future, such as EV charging, smart grids, or maybe even backup batteries.
Sure. I mentioned a few of them. We did a PV assessment of the entire campus, and I, I've been through my career here in Oregon, I've been involved with two microgrid projects or development of two microgrids, both of which for the government. And when I first came to Roseville, I was interested in exploring a microgrid development here on campus. I worked closely with PAE engineers analyzing the campus. Um, what we determined through that PV study is that we do not, unless we tore down or reoriented a number, about half our buildings, we will never achieve 100% backup power through photovoltaic panels. And so we've now gone to a kind of a secondary plan that Corinna Hirschberg, the engineer from PAE, and myself call a microgrid of microgrids. And so this is smaller battery systems. Just like Willamette View, we have diesel generators for our licensed facilities. So I have a dream of someday being able to replace that with large battery systems and get rid of the diesel generators, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen or if that's going to happen. Um, and so, I'm looking at panelizing the roofs that are most amenable. All new development will include a full build out of solar collection, solar panels on the roof, and backup battery systems. I probably will chip away at those battery systems and add um, systems that I can expand upon as we have capital resource becomes available. So I'm going to hit it really from two fronts: all new construction, lean in as hard as I can on resiliency and sustainability, and on existing buildings, seize opportunities as I like when we have the garage burned down or when we have to replace a building. It's largely how we're going to do it.
So, yeah, to Jim, we're a new building construction obviously coming up. We're planning for solar on that building throughout our campus. Over the years, we've had several building automation systems. We have at the Willamette View, we have about 7 or 8 large buildings. They're all connected by sky bridges. Then we do have some cottages down by the river, and we have some across the street. So getting these buildings on an automation system that talks to one another, it can actually have alarms if equipment's not running correctly. It puts in all kinds of checks of how a building automation system works to reduce the energy that you're using from HVAC, refrigeration, lighting, you name it. And so that's one of our main goals. And this is going to really give us an opportunity, especially on some of our older buildings, to monitor, to reduce the energy going forward. Also, a lot of folks on the webinar may not know, but Jim and I are neighbors. And so we're right on the Willamette River. On our lunch breaks, him and I take rocks down to the river and we're building a dam right now for hydropower. So that's coming. Anyway. But we also we for our irrigation system, just as a side note, we use an aquifer underneath the Willamette River, so we don't actually use any city water for our irrigation. And we always, again, we're constantly looking for ways. Lorraine and I had a project recently with the city of Milwaukee where she has a relationship with the mayor, and we installed a pollination garden in downtown Milwaukee where we donated a bunch of our boulders, and then we worked together with them to do the planting. So all kinds of projects for sustainability going forward, including the dam.
And dams get built one rock at a
That's
time.
right.
So
That's right.
eventually, by the time both you and Jim are done with your current positions, that dam will be done.
I want to be clear, that's Willamette View's dam. I just want to be clear that Willamette View is building that dam.
If the
We're sharing the
EPA comes
energy
at
with
you for not doing the environmental review, we'll make sure to point them there. I think we have time for one more question. How did you build buy-in among residents, leadership, and stakeholders, especially those hesitant about potential changes, costs, and issues?
You want to go first? You want me to?
I'm going to let Lorraine and Jim. I've got a bunch of construction noise behind me. I apologize.
I touched on it earlier. I think first off, be competent, do your work, do the analysis, do it in a way that you can be transparent with it, share the information, make prudent decisions, and then explain the reasoning behind the decisions. Have measurable key performance indicators that you can share with your stakeholders, and then share with them the tracking that you use and how you're doing on your expected performance. And I'm fortunate in that I have a large group of residents that do a lot of the work ahead of time, and they engage with a larger body of residents and get a lot of input towards what is important to them or things they'd like to see done. I don't have to do a lot of pulling. It's a lot of maybe a little reining in, and less pulling. And I think I'm fortunate that way.
Yeah, I think with us, it's just really having those open dialogues and we have 500 and some odd residents that live at Willamette U, and a lot of them have incredible backgrounds and a lot of knowledge. They do a lot of research, and I think it's important to have those conversations and listen and try to come up with solutions together. And I do think that it's important. I'm going to speak in the philanthropic terms, but to show the impact. You want this project. You're helping to support it philanthropically, or the business supports it. And but you have to be able to come back and show the people that were supporting you, this project really works. It works, and this is what it does, and it's right there. You can see the data. People love data. And once they see how successful it is, it's so much easier to get buy-in for that next project and just keep going. So yeah, and again, I started off meeting with our green team, and I know Roseville has a green team, and our green team and Rosevilla's green team, I know get together and share ideas and things, but we could not have done it without them. They were champions. They were behind it. They were helping to get the word out. I had little groups, like little pop-up groups. I actually had a solar panel on a flatbed that I wheeled around to show people what a solar panel is, and they were touching it and looking at it. And it's those champions that you need. You can't do it alone. So I'm just really fortunate that we have a group like that here. So I think that's where our success comes from.
That absolutely makes sense. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being a part of the panel today. This webinar has been recorded, so everyone will be getting an email copy out. And I thank everyone for their time. If you want to find out more, you can go to Willamette View's website to find out more about them, Rosevilla website to find out about them, decide which side of the street you want to be on. From what I'm aware of, I think both are great options for senior living. And you can reach out to Solar Oregon at info@solaroregon.org. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.